This brief segment focuses on Ecuador. The goal of this presentation is to inform you on various aspects of that country in preparation for your upcoming investment decision. There are many aspects of a country that may be relevant to potential investment decisions, and the various languages of a country is the first of such issues. Similarities and differences in languages can have a substantial impact on a firm's ability to communicate with local customers, suppliers, and even employees. While Spanish, the dominant language of Ecuador, and Portuguese are closely related, there are considerable differences between the two languages. Indeed, in various aspects, the system of sounds in Portuguese is more similar to the phonologies of Catalan or French than those of Spanish. Moreover, both countries are virtually unilingual, with exceptionally few Ecuadorians reporting Portuguese as their mother tongue, and exceptionally few Brazilians reporting Spanish as their mother tongue. A second issue which can influence a firm's ability to conduct business in a foreign country is the dominant religion. Religion has a potentially powerful impact on people's value systems and can influence how they behave and interact with one another. While the religious similarities between Brazil and Ecuador are undeniable, there are also some differences as well. Within Brazil, the proportion of people claiming the religion is very important in their lives. 77% is the second highest in Latin America. Yet in Ecuador, the Roman Catholic Church's relatively weak presence in the countryside and in squatter settlements, coupled with the nominal practice of many Catholics, has created opportunities for the evangelical Protestant churches and missionaries. A third factor which may influence a company's ability to conduct business in a foreign country is the level of industrial development. This not only influences the cost of labor in a country and the consumption patterns, but it also arguably shapes the attitudes, values, and behaviors of the population in general. Despite some obvious similarities, there are also substantial differences between Brazil and Ecuador in terms of level of economic development. Most notably among these differences are Brazil's higher level of ownership of consumer goods, such as motor vehicles and televisions, almost double. Additionally, industrial parks in Brazil are more modern, reflecting the fact that Brazil is one of the most developed countries in Latin America. Brazil also exports many more industrialized products than Ecuador, including airplanes and automobiles. In fact, Brazil has one of the most modern automotive industries, with numerous global manufacturers having established operations in Brazil. A fourth important issue is the similarities and/or differences in the educational systems of countries. While Brazil and Ecuador have similar levels of literacy, Brazil has recently put more emphasis on improving its education system. The major reform of the system in 1998 dedicated a large amount of the government budget to increasing literacy levels. Ecuador has not had a similar focus on improvement. A further example of this focus is that a professor in Brazil needs to have a doctoral degree in order to teach full-time at university, while in Ecuador only 1% of the professors actually have doctoral degrees. Most only have a master's degree. A fifth critical issue with respect to doing business in another country is similarities and/or differences in the legal and political systems. While both Brazil and Ecuador are democracies, there are important differences in the political systems between the two countries. Ecuador has a unicameral legislature, meaning that instead of balancing the power between two bodies, the single legislative body has more power. As a result, Brazilian politics tends to be more stable. For example, in 2005, the president of Ecuador was removed from office during riots throughout the country. Then, in 2007, the Ecuadorian legislature was disbanded due to corruption. A constitutional assembly has subsequently introduced a new constitution, giving even more power to the executive branch. A sixth, but potentially more subtle issue, is similarities and/or differences in actual business practices. This can involve simple but potentially embarrassing issues, such as how to properly greet people and attitudes towards time. Ecuador has some different business practices that Brazilians should be aware of. For example, using a nod for yes and shaking the head for no may not always be understood. To be sure, respond verbally. Like Brazilians, Ecuadorians have a relaxed view of time, yet they expect foreigners to be on time for business meetings. Unlike Brazil, where appointment times are more flexible, appointments should be made 2 weeks in advance in Ecuador. Business dress and introductions are also more formal in Ecuador. Similarly, titles are very important and should be included on business cards. Also note that most Hispanics have 2 surnames, one from the father and one from the mother, but only the father's is commonly used. The seventh and final issue is the broader set of cultural values which are commonly shared by a large portion of a country's population. Countries can vary in terms of the emphasis placed on individuality versus conformity, the attitudes towards uncertainty and ambiguity, the attitudes towards authority and social inequities, and not the least, attitudes towards how gender roles are allocated in society. Ecuador and Brazil have some important cultural differences. For example, Ecuadorians value the group over the individual even more so than Brazilians. They also view gender roles more traditionally than Brazil. This means that the country tends to be more masculine in behavior. This concludes our brief presentation on Ecuador.